In this tutorial, I will cover up the UI, okay, game over UI and lean tween. So if I die, if I die, as you seen, game over UI just get back itself to zero position in center of our screen and with a smooth transition. Okay, so we will use a lean tween for it, and I'm gonna explain how it works. Okay, so without furthering delay, let's dive into this topic. Okay, so firstly head over to google.com. Okay, find there a Unity asset store. Once you open up Unity asset store, find their lean twin. Okay, find their lean twin, at enter, and hit enter. It will redirect to lean twin. Okay, click on the free version, not the paid one or the others. Just click on the free one and you will good to go. Okay, just you have to click on add to my asset store. Okay, add to my asset store, and you just have to open in Unity editor. So over here we can see a lean twin. Okay, and the first one, which is free, so click on that, and you just have to click on add to my assets. And once you add it up to your assets, okay, added up your assets, it will tell you to open that up in Unity editor. Okay, so I already have done that, so I'm gonna move to a Unity. Okay, so if we move over to assets folder, we can see an Lintwin folder has been added to our project. So make sure it's in your project. If it's not, import it first. So if I move to, so over here you can see free Lintwin. So you just have to open in Unity. Okay, click on open in Unity and click on open in Unity editor. So I already have done, so I'm gonna uncheck those. Now we what we want to do, so we have imported lean twin before. Once we die, okay, once we die, we want to show up a game over UI. To show that up, okay, to show that up, we need to create the UI first. So make sure you created the canvas first, and after it you are able to create your game over UI. To do so, head over to hierarchy, right click on, hit this plus icon, and go to UI and select this canvas in the bottom. Okay, and once you created the canvas, select the canvas and move to rect transform of that, sorry, not rect transform, inspector, and move to canvas scaler and choose UI scale mode to is constant pixel size to scale with screen size. And once you done, click a resolution in the X 1920, in the Y 1000 NT. Okay, so we have created the canvas and now it's fine. And then we are good to go. Okay, so right click on the canvas. Firstly, let's create an empty game object. So right click on the canvas and go over to create an empty game object. Okay, empty child game object in our canvas. Okay, let's call this game object to be game over UI. Okay, and go to direct transform of that game object in inspector. Click on this and hold down alt on your keyboard and select the bottom right one. Okay, now it's stretch out as the size of the canvas, this game over UI game object. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to create a UI. Okay, canvas, we will create a panel. To do so, right click on the game over UI. Okay, and select another game object, which is go over to UI and select this panel. Okay, so instead what we want to do over here, okay, over here, if we go to rect transform. Okay, rect transform, hold down alt on your keyboard and select this center one. Okay, center one, select this center one, and select this rect tool in the right and resize it. Okay, so hold down alt on your keyboard, so it will resize from the center, we can see. Okay, like this. And I'm gonna make it a little bit size up, and go over to image field of that panel and choose this color fill. Let's bring it down to I guess black. Okay, I'm gonna do it black, and I'm gonna choose the alpha channel. Okay, like this, a little bit dimnish. Okay, so once you find, I'm gonna move it up. Okay, like it's now it's fine. Okay, So into this panel we want to create a text which will say that game is over. To do so, right click on this panel. Okay, right click, not the game over UI game object. So right click on panel, move to UI and choose legacy and choose this text. Let's scale this text a little bit up. To do so, let's choose the rectangle one more time and hold down Alt on your keyboard to resize it from center. Okay, let's choose the color another. Okay, to make it a visually appealing. To do so, move to text and choose the color. I'm gonna choose a little bit white. Sorry, to click on this color fill, let's choose white and make the size of the font size a little up. I'm gonna choose 100 and select bold font style to bold. Okay, and choose alignment to both of this center. Okay, both of this center. If we move to rect transform of this text, okay, and click on this rect transform. Okay, click on this and hold down or on your keyboard and choose this bottom right one. So if I try to resize this screen, we can able to see the text is resizing itself from that center according to the panel size. Okay, so that is the thing over here selecting it. So underneath, so the text is pressed underneath our panel game object. So that is the reason it just resizing itself according to the panel size, not the game over UI. So make sure it just child of our player game object, the text. Okay, so let's replace this new text to be something like game over. So I'm gonna move to text field and let's say game over. Okay, game over. Now it's fine. Let's make this one to prefab. So we know where we make prefab. If you lost from the scene or hierarchy, we won't able to restore it. Okay, so let's make a prefab folder first. Let's make a prefab folder first in assets folder. Okay, and select this game over UI game object and drag it to that prefab folder. So I'm gonna move to UI. Now it's turned blue. If I delete it from this in view now, I can directly select that game over UI game object and place it onto our canvas. Okay, so we can see it all has been saved as we did before. Okay, as it were was. So sorry for misspelling. Okay, so if I select this panel, which is this game over one, and choose this move tool, and I'm gonna drag it bottom in the bottom. Okay, not this. Oh, sorry. I'm also not sorry, I did some mistake. Okay, so not this one. If I select this panel, okay, I'm gonna move it down. So we will do it through our code. If we set the position of the x of this game panel, we can see if I set this to -1000. Okay, it's out of the screen and it's out of this our canvas. So in the start of the game, when we start the game, we not gonna just set directly game over UI to be in our screen. Once we die, we just wanna bring this up over here like this. Okay, so we want to set this in the bottom in the start of the game, but we want to do it through our code, not by default over here. So I'm gonna set back to 0 0. Okay, 0 to the y. No, we will only play with y axis, not the x or z. So okay, so let's open up our player script where we just dying. So double click that to open up in Visual Studio. So we need to grab the reference of this panel first. Okay, this panel game object first, and after it we can set the value we want in the y axis. Okay, so let's grab the reference first. Let's create an empty field of our game. Okay, so we need to make it public so we can set through inspector. That is game object we know, and that is panel, which is, let's call it something like game over panel or panel. Okay, sorry, panel, and close that off with semicolon. Sorry, panel, and close that off with semicolon. And let's move to start function, and of course we need to drag the reference in panel slot. By default this one will be empty, so we need to hook this up, and after it we can set the value. Make sure you drag it the reference out there. Okay, so now if we move to start function, we know start function get call when the game starts. Okay, start function get call when the game starts. So in the start of the game, we just wanna set that panel to be down as we seen or as we did before. Okay, so firstly we need to move to panel. Okay, move need to panel, and then transform, then dot local position. Okay, local position basically means we just moving over to this panel. Okay, this panel and this transform, rect transform, basically this transform, and we are setting this local position. Okay, local position, let's set it to equal to new vector 3. Okay, and we know vector 3 has x axis, y axis, and the z axis, and close that off with semicolon. And we just want to set this to y. Okay, if we set it to minus 1000, we can see the game over UI just out of the canvas. So that is the thing, so let's set it that. So I'm gonna set by default to 0. So let's set this y to minus 1000 f. Okay, and do for x, we will choose 0 f. We can see it's the default one, and choose the z for 0 f as well. Okay, and control s on your keyboard to save your code. Okay, and let's move to Unity. So control s, so it will take a few moments for compiling it. So what we're doing, firstly we need to drag the reference in there of that panel. So we just moving over to panel, then transform of that panel game object, and accessing the local position of it. And we're setting the local position of that in the start of the game. We know start function get called when the game start. Okay, and it just called one time. So we're setting the y axis only to minus 1000 f. Okay, so if we set it to minus 1000 f, it will be out of the canvas. Okay, or out of the screen as you seen. So just wait a moment, and it will take a few seconds for compiling. Once it's done, okay, so firstly we need to drag the reference, of course. So if I select this player game object, over there we can see an empty field of non-game object says panel, which is empty. Okay, so let's drag the panel out there. So we have the reference done. Now if we hit this play button in the top, so this game over will be set to minus 1000 f in the y, because we're setting it in the start of the game. Okay, and we need to set this once we just tie to back to 0. So as you can see, the panel just over here. Okay, so we need to set this to be 0. If I go over to panel, and if we set this to 0, so we can see it just over here in the center of our screen. And once we die, we need to set that. Okay, so if we move to script one more time, and where we tying, so over in the bottom, over here, we just destroying our player game object right away and showing that particular effect. So before we type, we need to set the position of this panel back again to 0. Okay, to do so we will use panel. Okay, panel dot panel dot lean. Okay, a lean move local y. So we imported and make this first bracket. So we imported this panel, or sorry, lean tween, as you seen in our project over here. So we just using it. So firstly we are moving to this panel, and we using this lean move local y. So the local y over here will take. Okay, so if we just over, if I select this, it takes one float 2 and float time. So basically where you want to go. So we want to set this one game over UI game object to be 0 one more time. So what we need to set the first argument where we want to go. So in our case 0f, 0 is means we want to just set back to 0 one more time this game over UI in the center of our screen. So that is the reason putting over there 0f. And the second time, we have specify the amount of time and how much time we want to go to that point. Okay, so let's suppose we will put point 0.8 0.8 f, means 80 millisecond or 800 millisecond, you can say. Okay, 0.8 f. And after it we can use this set is out. Okay, set is out expo, sorry, set is out, sorry, out expo, like this one. okay, and make some first brackets and close that off with semicolon. So panel dot lin move local y with the setting once again back to 0, okay, once we die, and this amount of time we want to go to that point. And this dot set is out expo, basically it's easing curve, okay. So if you want, I will have link in the description of easing curve. It's basically means how it will take to position, okay, and how you want to go to the next point. So at the end over here, the speed of this panel over here will be speed like this, okay, like this, okay, it will be like this. So I'm gonna set this one back to 0. So firstly it will move slowly that amount of time, which is zero point 0.8, and after it will set like this. So over here the speed will be much faster. So that is the thing, okay, or slow it, it's up to you. So I'm gonna leave in the description of easing curve, and you can use anything like set is out expo, set is out, anything like that, okay. So control s on your keyboard to save your code. Let's move to Unity and hit play in the top our game and try to die, okay. This game over panel to get just back to be back to be 0, and it will just set is out expo. So I'm gonna leave in the description of those easing curve as well, you can go ahead and check that out, okay. So just wait for to compile, and if I try to click on this retry button, oh sorry, or play button, and just wait for to compile, okay, just wait for to compile. Once it's done, and try to die. So once we die, we just setting back. So if I die, okay, 1 2 3, so as you seen it just get 20f, okay, with that amount of time. So you can play around the time. So let's suppose I'm gonna put it to 1f, mean 1 second, and control is on your keyboard to save your code. So we are doing in local move y, okay, y means basically this y1, not the x or z we are doing in it. So make sure you using local move y, not the any other thing. So just wait for to compile, and it will take a few seconds or few moments, and once it's done, hit play in the top and see the result what it's really happening, okay. So just wait for to compile, and now if we try to click on this play button in the top, okay, play button in the top, and try to die, the game over panel will get be active, or sorry, will set back himself to 0 with that amount of time which is set is out expo, okay. So if I now die, 1 2 3, so as you seen it just get to back to over here to 0. I hope you get the basics idea of it, how you can play around with this, with those lean tween, and set the position of the game object wherever you want. So lastly, thanks for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this video.